What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Tiege Hanley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Tiege Hanley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people when I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. We're not going to have no muting today. No muting today. No, we not. What up, what up, what up, what up to my friends and family? What's up, friends and family? I appreciate y'all for continuing to hold me down. Last night was wild, but we going to get into that later on in the show. Yeah, man, it is a great day. It is Tuesday, October 8th, 2024, year of our Lord, and we do not have long before we have to make sure that we choose the next president of the United States of America. We don't got long. We genuinely don't have long. So I encourage you guys to get involved. We cannot leave this up to chance. I know a lot of people like to have this laissez-faire attitude, and they're not feeling like they need to make sure that they have this call to action to ensure that you are going to get to the polls. Some people are going to be lazy. Some people are going to depend on other people to do it. You're going to depend on Anton to do all of the heavy lifting. I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part. I don't want people to be out here acting like they didn't know what was going on when we've informed you. We've done review videos. We've had interviews on these platforms. We've been giving you the information day in and day out, and we've been running it up and we ain't been missing. So now you're going to have to do your part and show up to these polls and vote the way that you know to vote because you are now an informed voter that has the information that you need to make the best decision for yourself. And you know, we going all red. We blotting the sky out. It's all red this election. I promised my brother that I was going to turn Michigan red. That Michigan is a swing state that we going to go red. I had a conversation with my brother this morning. I said, listen, I'm going to use every piece of ounce in my body to influence anybody that I can here in Michigan to go red. We'll talk about that later on today. What up to all of my friends? Sonny Man, please wish me a happy birthday. I adore you. Peace. Shout out to Robin Edwards. Happy birthday, Robin. Oh, we love you. We appreciate you. Yeah, man. Yeah. We're going to recap last night, but we're going to do that on the after hours. So make sure y'all pull up the after hours. It's going to be a fun show. I'm going to have my girl Carrie on there, Quentin, Slimmy. We going to get it in. We going to have good conversations. What is up to my friends and family? I appreciate y'all. We in here. We all the way live. We ready? Y'all hit a like for the algorithm. You shared this with your friends and family? Did y'all share this with y'all friends and family? Before we start to get into it, because I want to get right into the show, we got a lot to cover today. Aaron Floyd, thank you, Aaron Floyd, says, speaking the truth, I appreciate you on Cash App. Also, Mike, that dude, thank you, my friend, for always holding me down. A model of consistency. ESDC is in the building. Shout out to my dog, ESDC, on Cash App. Make sure that y'all get y'all Tiege Hanley. 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. Unc will never lead you wrong. If you're not rocking with Tiege, then you're not my friend. All right, because if you out here being dusty, there's nothing that we can do about that. So Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. If you're using any other Tiege pack, we don't want to talk about it. But those links is in the description to take care of that. Make sure y'all join the Patreon. Tomorrow, after the live show, we got Block Club. Block Club tomorrow. Block Club inside of the Patreon, the real estate portion of Stock Club tomorrow. I don't want to hear nothing from nobody saying that they're going to still be dusty and they're not ready to get this work. So if you're not a part of the Patreon, link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. And then last but not least, make sure you get your tickets to come and kick it with me in person. I'm going to be in Atlanta on November 2nd. I'm going to be in Detroit on December 14th. And we're going to figure it out from there, all right? So y'all ready to come and get to the show? Y'all ready to get it popping? I'm ready to get it popping. We'll be reading Cash Apps and Super Chats throughout the show. So let me go ahead and get started with the show, baby. It's Quick Hits. Quick Hits, y'all. Quick Hits is a segment of the show that we don't think that we necessarily need to bring every single individual subject into its own section, but we definitely want to keep y'all involved and updated on what's going on out in these streets. Man, all right? So first things first on Quick Hits. A man literally killed his ex-girl or ex-wife or woman, whatever you want to call it, a day after the order of protection expired. Crazy out here in these streets. Check it out.
Tonight, a man on Long Island is accused of killing his ex just one day after an order of protection against him ran out. And cops say he killed the woman in front of their 2-year-old son, leaving that boy covered in his mother's blood. Eyewitness News reporter Lucy Yang has the story from the Nassau County village of Hempstead.
This is Jose William Funes Zabala. Nassau County Police report he stabbed the mother of his child 34 times right in front of their traumatized 2-year-old boy.
I can't even imagine what that baby went through. It's just unbelievable.
It was Saturday night at this home in Hempstead, Long Island. The 29-year-old victim lived in the basement with her toddler. She had an order of protection against Funes Zabala.
Is this person from here? Is this person an American citizen? I just want to know. I always got to ask the question because I do stereotype. I absolutely stereotype. Stereotyping is a defense mechanism and it keeps you alive. Is this person from America? That's all I want to know.
Investigators believe she was caught in a violent relationship, finally getting help from the court when the baby had his skull and leg fractured. The tragic twist, her order of protection expired on Friday. The very next day, Funes Zabala apparently came back to the house, and when he learned she had moved on to another relationship, we're told he stabbed her to death.
His son was there while it occurred. He witnessed this and stayed there and remaining in full blood of his mother.
Authorities say Funes Zabala ran off and engaged in some self-inflicted wounds, but clearly was not as savage with himself. The baby, covered in blood, eventually found help upstairs in the house.
She tried to do the right thing, and hopefully her baby will be okay. I know she has no family here.
Experts have determined the defendant fit to stand trial for murder. Meanwhile, local police are encouraging anyone who feels unsafe to know that an order of protection can easily be extended.
I just want to know if they're from here because that's not normal. That's not normal. You don't hear that here in the United States of the Americas. I mean, we got a lot of things going on. We got dudes with switches. We got P. Diddy out here having baby oil parties and freak offs. We got people disrespecting DDG when it came to Haley. And we're going to talk about that on After Hours tonight. But you don't hear this type of nonsense. You don't hear this one. No. We don't hear this one. And so I'm weirded out. I'm genuinely weirded out. And I'm not sure if these people are from here. They saying that she was staying in the basement. For whatever reason, the news is now reluctant to say whether people are literally from here or is this something that they bring in from their own culture over here to the United States of America. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm sorry. In addition to that, 4 people are arrested in an assault on former New York Governor David Paterson. Arrested. Check it out.
Well, 4 people are under arrest accused of assaulting former Governor David Paterson and his stepson over the weekend. The suspects include 2 boys, 12 and 13 years old.
All right, police still looking for one more assailant. Fox 5's Duarte Geraldino has more on how the attack happened.
On the right side of your screen is 34-year-old Diamond Mintor. On the left, 40-year-old Trevor Nurse. Police arresting the 2 of them in connection with a gang assault on former New York Governor David Paterson and his stepson, Anthony Sliwa. Both of the suspects are NYCHA employees.
He attacked me.
As he was being led into a police car, Nurse told reporters he was acting in self-defense.
He punched me in
He
my
ain't
eye.
got no hair.
The son punched me in my eye. Are you on top of the fire myself?
Nurse is being charged with both gang assault and assault on a victim 65 years old and older. The former governor, who is 70, admitted on Good Day New York he didn't back down after being struck.
I know that the person that hit me, I smashed their head into the window at McDonald's and threw them on the ground.
The NYPD released surveillance footage of 5 suspects. Police say the gang assault took place just after 8:30 Friday night. Patterson explained it all started when his stepson saw 3 people climbing a fire escape on 2nd Avenue between 96th and 97th Street. He told them to stop. Later, when Patterson and his stepson went back outside, they ran into the same group.
Well, the bad thing is that when Anthony fell, which is usually the time that a fight ends, they continued to assault him.
2 juveniles, ages 12 and 13, have already turned themselves in.
I was so happy that their parents came with them, that they turned themselves in, that they're being accountable here. I think that's a good start for them.
First of all, ain't the governor, the former governor, David Paterson, ain't he legally blind? Like, technically, he's legally blind. Man, this guy ain't trying to get into no beef with nobody, but I'm sure that he defended himself. He said, listen, I smashed his head up against that window at McDonald's, though. Shout out to the gov, getting him arrested and defending himself effectively. Out here dealing with all of these, y'all said he blind fury. Yo, shout out to, nobody should be putting their hands on nobody, and everybody want to be tough. Now you getting arrested, and you put your hands on the wrong one. So that's what happened with the gov over there in New York, or the former governor over there in New York. And then last but not least, Tiffany Henyard had to pull up on her trustees over there in Dolton. I don't really like doing reports on Tiffany Henyard anymore, but this is where we at. I'm going to just do a little quick hit. So we're not going to do a whole segment on it. We got more important things to get to.
Dolton's mayor walked into tonight's village board meeting 1 hour after it started and after trustees had approved several agenda items.
So I just want to come here and lay the law down as it relates to what's going on in our village and where we are and where we're going.
Tiffany Henyard walked out after saying she vetoed everything the board had done. Village attorney says that is not possible since vetoes must be written. Trustees' votes tonight address Dolton's deficit estimated at $2.8 million this year. The board approved steps to stop several high-priced vehicle leases and to sell the village-owned fitness center.
We have to be able to use what we have, whether it be collateral or anything, to save you guys. So we're not saving us, we're saving the community because we don't want to impose additional taxes or something for the negligence of what has happened over the last 3.5 years.
Tonight's meeting had been moved to the Park District after the Illinois Attorney General's office found Dolton violated the Open Meetings Act.
Happened several times.
And first of all, they caught this lady off guard. Let me show you how they caught her off guard on camera. Check it
3.5 years.
Tonight's meeting had been moved to the Park District after the Illinois Attorney General's office found Dolton violated the Open Meeting.
She wasn't ready. But I caught a little bit of this yesterday, and I was actually watching it as I was working and taking care of business inside of the studio because I had to redo the studio back because some people had needed my studio in order to record some stuff. But what happened, the additional context was Tiffany Henyard had a scheduled board meeting at where she normally would have a board meeting. The trustees wanted to separately have a board meeting in a completely different location, just in case additional people wanted to come in, because I guess based off of the act that you have to have enough room and accommodation for anybody that wants to come in. But judging by looking at this right now, it doesn't look like it was full anyway. So I'm not in favor of Tiffany Henyard at all. Tiffany Henyard wound up having to shut the meeting down and end the meeting that they would normally have in a normal place that they would have it, because if you don't have at least 3 trustees there, then you can't proceed with the meeting as far as the village business and things like that. So what she wound up doing was she had to shut that meeting down and then go over to where it is that they was at, because apparently they was doing their own thing and having their own meeting and they're not working together. So what I see here in the village of Dolton, from both Tiffany Henyard and the trustees, is complete dysfunction that's basically being ran by a bunch of people that look like them. They all look like each other. They all talk about how they want identity politics, how they want representation inside of these places. And what I see is complete incompetence on the side of all the people that are involved and all the people that were voted in there, because they all used to be friends prior to Tiffany Henyard wanting to becoming mayor of Dolton in the first place. And so I see a bunch of people that are completely dysfunctional, and I'm not going to just lay it at the feet of Tiffany Henyard. I believe it's at the feet of all of them. I think that all of them are completely dysfunctional. That's my personal opinion. But ladies and gentlemen, that is your quick hits. All right, let me read a super chat and the cash app, and then we're going to go ahead and get started with the show. Shout out to my girl P. Shanks says, good morning, Mr. Anton Daniels on the Millionaire Morning Show. Amazing. Amazing. And shout out to my dog, Philip Jackson, my rich friend. Rich friend in the building says, I appreciate you. Thank you, Philip. Hey, man, listen, bro. You be sending that crazy. I just got rich friends that don't mind supporting the platform and supporting what we're doing. So, Philip Jackson, thank you to everybody that continue to hold me down and support the platform. You are very much appreciated. I do not take it for granted, not even a little bit. Jamani is in the building and says, good morning, Anton. Became a bag chaser as an early birthday gift to myself. Appreciate all the hard work and keeping us informed, big dog. Thank you, Jamani, for holding me down. And hopefully you get the value that I hope that you get out of the Patreon, and you come and kick it with us in person also. So looking forward to making sure that you get all of the game, all of the insight, all of the information so you can run it up. Shout out to you, Jamani. All right, and shout out to all of the bag chasers in the building. Hey, we got a few thousand people in here. Make sure y'all hit a like. The likes is anemic. I asked y'all to hit a like when this show first started. I asked y'all to hit a like when this show first started. I don't ask for much. All I ask y'all to do is hit a like, and if you love what we're doing and you watched us more than once, to make sure you subscribe to the channel and send us to your gam. Send us to your friends and family so they can get this work from the best morning show on earth. We don't ask for much. We don't ask for much. Shout out to my girl, Molly. I love Molly. Me and Molly was the only ones that was standing on business last night. Me, Molly. Well, Quentin switched up on us at the last minute, so it's just me and Molly. That's all it is. It's me and Molly. And I see that that's all I got in my corner that's going to consistently hold me down. Shout out to my girl, Molly. She in the building. She made sure that you looked out for the homie. I love you, M. We're going to get you that 10-day contract, and now we're going to get you that 4 years contract. We're going to see what we can do. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, all right, y'all, let's get it popping. The likes is anemic, but let's just hope that you guys go ahead and get off your bum and hit like for the algorithm. Let's get into the show, all right? So first and foremost, I got to give y'all an update on what's going on with Hurricane Milton. They say it's Category 4, Category 5 prior to making landfall over in Florida. Are y'all praying for y'all people? Because I got people down in Florida. The majority of my family is actually over in Tampa. As weird as that sounds, the majority of my family is over in Tampa, but we'll talk about it in a minute. This is what's going on currently with Hurricane Milton that's projected to be worse than Helene.
Mandatory evacuations right now, they are underway. People in Tampa,
what's up, Rihanna? OG
nearby,
Rihanna.
They are being told to get out now before it's too late.
Our live team coverage heads to Tampa right now.
Hey, our Terry Hornstein is live there. And look, Terry, this is really a 1-2 punch for these communities. Those huge piles of debris, we could see it right there behind you from Helene. That was just weeks ago. And that's going to create a real big problem here as Milton comes ashore.
Yeah, Austin and Betty, so many people waking up anxious this morning because of these piles of debris. Take a look at this one here. It's almost as tall as I am, and there are so many that look like this. And if you look and try to pick these pieces up, they're so light, can very easily be tossed around. And this is one of the main concerns for so many here, where all of this will go as this next storm hits.
If they have called for your evacuation order, I beg you, I implore you to evacuate.
Heavy highway traffic Monday showed that many Floridians are heeding those warnings, with deadly storm surge as high as 15 feet forecast for some areas. Those planning to ride out the storm lined up for hours to fill sandbags.
With the last storm, we got flooded, so it's all about prepping this time.
Also,
I'm so aggravated. I'm so aggravated. All right. So I know I'm muted. Thank you, Rita. Thank you for calling me. I did it again. Here's my question for y'all. Again, what is the purpose of the sandbags? All right. That's what I'm trying to understand. Because I'm using sandbags. We use sandbags when we're building this house that we got going on. And the sandbags help to prevent the runoff just in case it rains, because we've graded, we've basically leveled off and graded everything that's going over into the street, right? And so what I'm trying to understand is, if you have a hurricane that's a Category 4, Category 5, that's coming into Florida or coming into Tampa, why are people using sandbags as though that's going to save them, or save their property, or save whatever it is that they got going on? Why are people using sandbags? I don't understand that. What is the purpose of the sandbags? What do they do? And I'm asking because it says sandbags to prevent water from entering. How is it going to prevent water from entering if you got a Category 4, Category 5 hurricane? I don't understand it. And I'm genuinely asking because I'm curious and I don't know. So are you telling me that these little sandbags that's lined up down the street is going to prevent projectiles and water from overwhelmingly coming inside of your crib? To divert water, but if everything is destroyed, it's a waste of money? So if you got a level 4, level 5 coming into your space, you think that the sandbags is going to stop it? And why are these people still there? Why are these people still in Tampa? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Also to buy gas and dwindling supplies at stores, where some shelves are already empty.
Paper towel, water, and canned food boxes, everything. A lot of people is like going crazy buying stuff.
In St. Petersburg Beach, residents still digging out after Helene struck 2 weeks ago. Now there's a race against time to remove leftover piles of debris before Milton blows through.
We need as much of this debris picked up as possible. This creates a safety hazard.
In Tampa, staff at this zoo rushing to secure the animals before Milton makes landfall.
We do have a lot of what we call night houses, or buildings that the animals are used to going into.
The state also now with a base camp at Tropicana Field with 10,000 beds set up for emergency workers.
It's crazy.
Yes, so many people here in Tampa just really concerned this morning. You're looking at a pile of debris just across the street from where I'm standing. And then take a look where I am here. Another pile of debris. So many houses look like this. A lot of their lives' items just strewn about out here. I mean, we're talking about couches. We're talking about stools. Even car seats like this one just on the street this morning. So many people lost everything in Hurricane Helene. Their homes gutted this morning. Now all of them worried about what it will look like when they wake up later on this week.
Let me go over to the Tampa mayor. The Tampa mayor appeared on CNN, and she had a warning when they were asking him about Milton and being in an evacuation zone. Check it out.
And my source tonight is the mayor of Tampa, Florida, Jane Castor. Mayor Castor, it's great to have you here. I know you have a lot going on. What is your #1 message to Tampa residents tonight?
The number one message, as it has been for several days now, is that you need to prepare, do whatever you need to do, and then get out of the evacuation zones, which now are evacuation zone A and B.
Is it that bad, Astrid?
And as we all have heard so many times now, you hide from the wind and run from the water. And we are talking about right now the possibility of a direct hit with 10 to 12 foot tidal surge. Put that in perspective, Hurricane Helene, which...
Does that say 15 feet, 10 to 15 feet, 5 to 10 feet? Jesus Christ.
Just left the Tampa Bay area a week ago. There was 6 foot storm surge, and that was literally devastating to so many in our coastal area. We have 126 miles of coast just in the city of Tampa. And so people need to be heeding that warning. And from the looks of traffic on all of our northbound highways, they're doing just that.
Yeah, we've seen how jammed up those highways are. I know a lot of the tolls have been suspended to help facilitate people getting out of there. What would you say to people tonight who are saying, you know what, I'm going to ride this out, I've ridden others out? What would you say to people who aren't heeding those evacuation orders?
Well, I can tell you right now that they may have done that in others. There's never been one like this. And this, Helene was a wake-up call. This is literally catastrophic. And I can say without any dramatization whatsoever, if you choose to stay in one of those evacuation areas, you're going to die.
It don't get no more direct than that. It gets no more direct than that. She said what she said. She said, listen, if you choosing to stay and ride this out, because this is going to be worse than Helene, if you choose to stay and ride this out in one of those evacuation areas, you're going to die. I don't know if this woman is Democrat or Republican. I don't really even think it matters. I think that the preservation of human life is the priority. There's no way that I'm putting my life on the line. She said, listen, if you are in one of those evacuation areas, I don't know if you listening to this. If you're not listening to this, I got a lot of family that I can't convince to save my life. Listen, bro, I have a lot of family that is in the Tampa Bay area. The majority of my family is in the Tampa Bay area. I don't know. And I'm not one to ever put my business online like that to this extent. You know, I talk in general or whatever. But I've been trying to convince the majority of my family, hey, man, y'all need to get out of Dodge. We got a lot of houses up here in Michigan. We got a lot of rooms or whatever. And they said, listen, we just going to put the shutters up. They said, we just going to put the shutters up. She said, listen, let me play it again, because this is the Tampa Bay mayor that's saying if you are in one of the evacuation areas, you need to get out of Dodge. Listen to what she says.
Catastrophic. And I can say without any dramatization whatsoever, if you choose to stay in one of those evacuation areas, you're going to die.
Travis, you said you grew up in St. Pete and they not leaving? Trust you? I don't know what the hell is going on, man. I don't understand what's happening. I don't know why people think that they should be still staying down there. And she was like, she just straight up said it. She said, listen, if you are in the evacuation area, you need to get out of Dodge or you are going to die. I don't know how any more direct that they can be. For anybody that chooses to still stay down there, and then if we got to sit here and have a conversation about how many people are affected in a negative way as far as the expiration of the bodies and all of this stuff, then this is a self-inflicted wound at this point. Because people have been warning y'all for weeks and weeks and weeks. Y'all seen what happened to Milton. You seen what happened to them people up there in North Carolina. They still ain't dug out of it. They still ain't got themselves out of it. We trying to politicize this thing, and we don't need to be on no campaign trails. Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, they don't need to be talking about nothing that got to do with no Ukraine. They need to be pausing everything that's outside of what's going on in the United States of America. Then every single resource, I'm talking about the Navy, the National Guard, whoever it is that they can find, they don't need permission. All they need to do is to be in position and to be getting them people the heck up out of there. That should be the primary concern, not 60 Minutes. We're going to go over that today. Not nothing that's going on over in New York. We don't care about what's happening with Diddy. We don't care about Eric Adams. Right now, the only thing that our federal government need to be focused on is making sure that they're in a position to help these people as soon as this hurricane hit. They should be on the ground, and that would be true leadership. That would be what true leadership looked like.
Wow. I mean, that is an incredibly blunt message. And I know you have a lot of experience dealing with these storms. You don't say something like that lightly, Mayor.
I've never said that. And 10 to 12 foot surge. I mean, if this takes a jog to the south, that's going to save us from the storm surge. But it stays on the track that it's projected to be on right now. Or if it goes a bit north, would be even worse. Some of the predictions are saying that Pinellas County to the south of us, the entire county is going to be underwater. So this is something that I have never seen in my life.
Somebody said not everybody can afford to leave. BS. I don't believe that. Deasia, I don't believe that. And the reason that I don't believe that is because people find the money to do the things that they want to do. People find the money to do the things that they want to do. Nobody is asking you to figure it out. Nobody is asking you to go and get a hotel. I don't care if you sleep in your car. For the time that this storm come here, you need to be on your way out of there. And it's already probably too late. It's probably not too late. I don't know. But y'all need to be on your way up out of there because this is not the move. This is not the move. Come on, listen, babe. It's some people that's choosing to ride this out and they got the money and they got the resources so they can get themselves out of Dodge. It's some people that's choosing to be hard-headed. It's some people that's choosing to be hard-headed and they say, nope. We not going, we not doing it. I'm not playing this game. It's some people, it's a lot of people that's choosing to play the game. They playing Russian roulette with their lives and their kids' lives. That's just the facts. Some people saying, I don't care. I've been here my whole life. I ain't going nowhere. And then they're going to be like, oh, somebody come save me. That's all right. I'm going to keep following it. I'm going to watch it.
And I can tell you that anyone who was born and raised in the Tampa Bay area has never seen anything like this before. People need to get out.
And your message is just, this isn't survivable.
If we have that predicted storm surge, it is not survivable.
Can I ask you what that means for the general hospital there in Tampa? Because it's on a bit of an island. And there was actually kind of this amazing thing that was used during Helene, the aqua fence, as it's known, to stop the storm surge. And it worked. But from what I read, it said it can only stop out 15 feet of water. Are you worried that may not be enough for this storm?
I am worried about that. But, it worked before. That it's not on a kind of an island. It's on an island, Davis Island. And, of course, that hospital's close to 100 years old, was built there. It wouldn't be built there under current conditions. But that aqua fence, really saved that hospital. So hopefully the engineering behind it continues to work, where the weight of the water holds that fence down and keeps the water from coming in, but it is rated for 12 feet. So if we hit the storm surge, it's at high tide, hopefully that fence will hold and the surge will just go over the top of it. We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
But they have all of the patients are up higher on higher floors, but it certainly would take out the electricity, the generators, and so forth at that location.
Mayor, you're dealing with such serious matters here, having to move hospital patients to higher floors in case of a big storm surge, closing the Tampa International Airport, obviously a very busy airport. So many steps that you're taking and delivering this blunt message tonight. I can't believe I have to ask this, but I do want to ask you if
Somebody said this is CNN propaganda for sure. When do we remove the politics from it and we start focusing on humanity? I don't think this has anything to do with propaganda. You see the Tampa Bay mayor. The Tampa mayor is telling you, get out of there or you're going to die. This don't have nothing to do with propaganda. And I use sources from everywhere, Fox News, CNN, ABC, NBC, whatever it is that's available. I use it, I look at it, I draw my own context clues. This don't have nothing to do with propaganda. This is get out of Dodge. I don't know how many more ways that we can say it. You must be one of them ones that's sticking around and trying to ride it out. Okay.
The misinformation that we've seen about storms and the federal response is getting in the way, actually, and affecting your disaster response as a city official.
It's not, that is just all noise out there. And it really is sad that individuals would stoop to that level. It's, to bring politics into something like this. President Biden just called my cell phone less than an hour ago to ensure that we had everything that we needed. The administrator for FEMA came here from North Carolina, where they are handling the issues up there, flew into Tampa, drove around with us, and then went over to the barrier islands in Pinellas County, St. Pete, Clearwater. We have the resources from the federal government. Governor Desantis, Kevin Guthrie, the emergency manager, they are on top of it. Everyone is working together to make sure that we keep our communities as safe as we possibly can during this event.
Yeah, this is not we can criticize. I have no problem criticizing the Biden-Harris administration after everything happens. I have no problem criticizing the administration and saying, did they do a good job? Did they not do a good job? I don't believe that this is a time for us to be divided. This is not the time for you to start playing party politics when it comes to people's lives. The fact that Desantis is working together with Biden and the federal government in order to ensure that the people, that they can do all that they can to prepare for this and to get as many people out and then prepare, to hopefully, assist Florida and whatever place is affected by this hurricane is a different conversation. I'll go off and say, oh, I don't like this, or, oh, you know what? They did okay with this, but I wish they could have did better with that. I'll play along with the entertainment factor and start talking about politics afterwards. But while it's happening and prior to, the preservation of human life and us making sure that we focus on the humanity of people and saving lives is of the utmost importance. We can figure it out afterwards and figure out whose fault it is. Right now, people need to be focused on making sure that they get people up out of there. So I'm not willing to go down that path. People got to get out of there. They got to get safe. I hope that everybody is evacuating accordingly. And we don't want to do that and say, oh no, stay there. But no, listen, get up out of there. We'll figure out what the residual effects are. Maybe we'll criticize FEMA. Maybe we'll criticize somebody else. Did they respond to this? Whatever. We'll play that afterwards. But right now, everybody need to focus on getting themselves safe and getting to a safe place and not being in the eye of this storm. So that's where I stand on it. If you got loved ones, make sure that you try to convince them, check on them. Don't let them try to face this and think that it's going to be cool. It's not. It absolutely not. All right. Let me read some of these super chats and then we're going to continue over with the show. Shout out to y'all for letting me know I was muted. That was my main objective today, was to not be muted, but we're going to see what happens. Shout out to Jay Ben, says props to the mute for working more than the likes. Hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notification. Mississippi don't have to worry about hurricanes. Really? No, that's not true. Because in Biloxi, Mississippi, a lot of Mississippi was broken up because of that. So don't ever, that's not true. That's not true. That's false information. Tony Pickney says, this is one of the many reasons you can't convince me to move back to New Orleans. I feel you, bro. Nice place to visit. Definitely not a nice place to live at. This Tampa situation reminds me of convincing black people to leave the Old South. I don't care if the KKK mob is coming. This is my home. This crowd, I don't understand it. American Virus is Freedom says, this is her warning to the people that the government won't help if they stay. leave if you want to live. They can't help you. They can't help you during the storm. They can help you before, they can help you after, but ain't nobody coming to save you when that storm is hitting, all right? Let's pivot for a minute. So let's talk about Desantis and Kamala Harris, because he is working with the Biden administration based off of what I've been researching, but he's saying that he's not taking her calls because she's trying to play party politics at a time that they're trying to preserve as many lives as they can and warn people and get people out of Florida. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. DeSantis pulled up on Fox News, and he wanted to communicate his thoughts.
Meanwhile, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, hearing all that and probably knew it already, joins us live from the Emergency Management Headquarters in Tallahassee. Governor, you've been there quite often. What's the greatest challenge with Milton as opposed to Helene or others you've had to deal with over the last 7 years?
Well, I think as Janice mentioned, this is tracking very close to that Tampa Bay area. I would note that anyone on the western peninsula of Florida, just wherever that eye wall is scheduled to go across now on these cones, that can shift. I think right now they have it just south of Tampa Bay in Manatee County. It could shift further north, and it could shift further south in terms of having the most immediate impacts. But that Tampa Bay area is very low-lying. Pinellas County, where I grew up, is surrounded by water. It's a peninsula. It is just vulnerable to storm surge generally. This is a storm that's going to be hitting sometime Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. The water's already going to be high with the tide. So that's a huge, huge concern. Now, it had gotten up to 180 mile an hour when it was going towards the Yucatan Peninsula in the Gulf of Mexico. That is an incredibly powerful storm. It has weakened since then. It may strengthen today. The forecasts are that it will make landfall weaker than it is today. Let's pray that that's the case. The surge is going to be a big enough problem, and hopefully the winds are manageable. Most of the buildings in Florida are going to be able to handle a Category 3 storm. So there's a lot going on. And oh, by the way, we just had a Category 4 storm impact a lot of people up the west coast of Florida. One of the issues that we saw in places like the Pinellas County beaches and Manatee County beaches was there was a lot of debris, and these local governments have to pick it up. They have contractors that do it, but it wasn't being done fast enough. So I did this weekend. I took all of our state agencies, any truck we had anywhere in the state who's involved in normal missions, we diverted it over to those barrier islands. We're doing a 24/7 debris mission. So we've been able in 48 hours with our state assets be able to do as much debris removal as any of the contractors who've been doing this for almost 2 weeks. Wow. We actually had to pry open one of the landfills in Pinellas County because it wasn't operating 24/7 as my executive order did, but we've made a big dent in that. And the issue is if you have this debris laying out, it could become projectiles, and then with the storm surge, it creates more damage. So it's very difficult. We're going to get hit basically 2 weeks on the dot from getting hit by Helene, but we felt it was important that we did that. We also have now close to 40,000 utility linemen in the state of Florida are en route. And remember, there's a lot of these workers that are still in Georgia and North Carolina and those places. We've had to bring them in all the way from California. So they're going to be ready to do the power restoration mission. And then we'll have 8,000 Florida National Guard when the storm hits. All our urban search and rescue, our Florida State Guard, Fish and Wildlife, all that will be there, ready to go. So we're prepared for this. This is not easy. I think it's been very taxing on our citizens to have to go through this. Just as you're starting to pick up the pieces from Helene, now you see another monster storm bearing down. But we'll get through this. I think the important thing today is you still have time to execute your plan. You do not have to get on the interstate and drive hundreds of miles. There are shelters open all throughout the state of Florida. In your county, there's shelters that are in higher ground and that are hurricane proof. So if you don't want to get on the interstate, you don't have to. And there's a wide variety of options. So if you are in one of those surge prone areas, take action now. We have all day today. As we get into tomorrow, you're going to start seeing effects most likely in Wednesday afternoon.
So for everybody that was in the chat saying that a lot of people don't have no resources to be able to leave, I don't believe you, because they're not telling you They're not telling you that you got to come all the way up here to Michigan. They're not telling you that you got to go over there and fly to New York. They're not telling you that you got to ride all the way over to California or you got to just leave the state completely. They're saying that you need to make sure that you save yourself. You can't do nothing else for your house. It's time to get out of Dodge. You ain't got to jump on the interstate. You can go over to the hurricane-proof evacuation shelters, whatever it is, 24, 48 hours, be uncomfortable, go to these places and save your life and save your family's life. This ain't the time to be a tough guy. And like he said, they can always figure out and rebuild or get the linemen in there and get the electricity on and make sure that they figure out what's going to go on and go forth. But you can't get your life back. And so I believe that he probably has one of the hardest jobs as a governor, maybe him in the governor wheelchair down there in Texas. But I believe that Florida's Ron DeSantis probably has one of the hardest jobs in the United States of America, dealing with this and always having hurricane season and trying to convince people to do the thing that's in their own best interest. Let's continue to hear what he has to say.
In fact, Governor, I was down in Florida yesterday, and I know that a lot of the stores are running out of water. The gas stations are running low on gas. A lot of people who were impacted by Helene actually lost their cars, and so there are lines out the door at car rental places for people trying to get out. And as well, you've got your emergency services people, and the cops are going door to door in the A-zone evacuation areas, saying you've got to get out. Because once this storm hits, you guys are not going to be able to go and save them. They've got to save themselves by getting out now, right?
Yeah, and so on the transportation, because you raise a good point, the counties are providing transportation for folks that don't have it, and then the state has entered into an agreement with Uber.
So all of y'all still sitting here in the chat making excuses. Well, if you the elderly, well, if you this person, well, if you that person, you won't be able to get. No, listen. Get out of Dodge. Get out of Dodge. Get out the way. Move. Get out the way. You have no excuses to not. The state is literally paying for you to get out the way proactively. No excuses. Get out of there.
So if you need a ride to a shelter, you can go on Uber. There's a code for Milton Relief. And so take advantage of that. Absolutely. You should do that. But yes, you run from the water and you hide from the wind. If we end up with a Category 3 storm, most of the places in Florida, particularly with our building codes, if you hunker down, in and of itself, you'll probably be okay. But the water, you just can't contend with Mother Nature. If you have 10 feet of that surging in, it is incredibly destructive. It is not something that you want to mess with. So there are options for you. You have time to be able to do it, and make sure that you are safe in your family. And oh, by the way, the pets too. All counties and shelters, they have at least one pet-friendly shelter. We've actually evacuated some of the pet shelters where you've had abandoned pets. We've moved them to safer shelters in other parts of the state. So there's contingencies for all this stuff. We're going to have damage. People are going to lose homes. We're going to have businesses. We're going to have destruction of infrastructure. But we can fix all that. You can't fix if you decide to stay in 10 feet of storm surge and you die.
You've mastered the process there. Everybody gives you credit for it because, you guys do such a great job with handling this. But we're learning that FEMA now is reporting that there's a severe shortage of disaster workers. This is also coming with, they're saying they're going to need more money. They may run out of money in November. So what are your thoughts on that? And are you guys set in Florida to be able to cover your people, even if FEMA won't have the money?
Well, we have what we need right now. And so FEMA, we work with them. Some of the urban search and rescue, a lot of those people are in Florida anyways, but we're also bringing them in from around the country. We're also working with DOD to supplement the fuel mission. So we have all our requests have been honored pre-storm, and we anticipate after the storm. I don't know what Congress is going to have to do going forward, but I will want, because Steve also raised a good point about the fuel. So the fuel situation is in Florida.
Let me first, before we continue, before we continue, because I don't like the way that Biden handled the North Carolina situation. I don't like how they handled Helene. But I will give credit where credit is due objectively. I'm still not voting for Democrats, but I still have to give Biden credit on this. The fact that he not playing party politics, and maybe it's because he's an outgoing president or something like that, and he's more focused on people a little bit more, even though he's still advocating for the Democratic side, he has to. Let me give Biden credit, and that Desantis literally just said that the federal government and Biden honored all of their requests as far as what they need prior to, and they're going to have to figure it out as far as who got the money, if FEMA is going to be broken, all of that afterwards. But the federal government is honoring Desantis and working with him in order to ensure that they get every resource that they need or every resource that they're requesting to make sure that they can proactively prepare for and ride out this storm. So let me give Biden a rare round of applause. Let me give Biden a rare round of applause, because if DeSantis is saying that he is working with them and he is honoring all of their requests in order to ensure that the preservation of human life is happening, then that's the number one thing. We can criticize afterwards, we can evaluate afterwards, but I got to give Biden his credit with working with DeSantis to ensure that everything is what it needs to be as of right now. Let's continue.
It's not a supply issue, it's a distribution issue, because the stations are running through it faster than they normally do.
I don't have to,
Florida
Eric
Highway
D.
Patrol escorting these fuel trucks into the gas stations. We have 1.5 million gallons that are either in Florida or en route in reserve. Our port of Tampa is still open. It's still going to be receiving fuel. So I think it's more of just when they run out, you got to replenish it. But we have stocked spare fuel in the state of Florida, and we'll continue to do that leading up to the storm. And we anticipate you could have some major interruptions at the port of Tampa, which is one of the places where
I wonder
we
how
get
bad it
a
is
lot
in
of our
Mexico
fuel
right
from. And so we will work around that as needed.
Governor, I know Kamala Harris called you selfish. She said she's tried to contact you to talk to you about hurricane relief. And I know that you've said, I think you said she didn't try to contact you. We want to get your response.
Did she say that Kamala Harris called him selfish? You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Now, I haven't reviewed this. I'm literally looking at it at the same time that you guys are. And that's why when he said it, I gave Biden credit. But why would she be sitting here calling names prior to, come on, man. Come on, bro. Did she say that she said that she called her selfish? She called DeSantis selfish?
But first, listen to what she said. Well, we don't have the sound, but she said, you know, moment of crisis, if nothing else, should really be the moment that anyone calls himself a leader, says they're going to put politics aside and put the people first. People are in desperate need of support right now and playing political games at this moment in these crisis situations. These are the height of emergency situations. It's just utterly irresponsible, and it's selfish, and it's about political gamemanship. What's your response?
What? He's literally just giving the Biden administration credit, and he's leveraging every resource in the state to ensure that the people are safe, and they're proactively trying to do what they got to do to make sure that everybody survives. What is she doing? What is she doing? I got to give Biden credit for focusing on what's best for the people in this situation. What is she doing? What is she doing?
Well, I think she should look in the mirror. We've been on an emergency footing for 2 weeks straight, round the clock, 24/7. We've been working, my office, our Division of Emergency Management, helping people prepare for Hurricane Helene, helping effectuate rescues of people after Hurricane Helene, helping people pick up the pieces of their lives after Helene, and then have to also turn around and prepare for major impacts and maybe even more impacts from Hurricane Milton, be able to have rescue personnel ready to help people, and then, of course, help with the power restoration, all these things to do. So that's been my sole focus. My focus has not been on dealing with Kamala Harris. I saw the news report. I didn't know she tried to contact me. But I'd also say it's not about you, Kamala.
Right.
It's about the people of Florida. My focus is exactly where it should be. And I can tell you this, I've worked on these hurricanes under both President Trump and President Biden. Neither of them ever tried to politicize it. She has never called on any of the storms we've had since she's been vice president until apparently now. Why all of a sudden is she trying to parachute in and inject herself when she's never shown any interest in the past? We know it's because of politics. We know it's because of her campaign. I have zero time to entertain these political games. We're going to continue to do what we need to do to prepare and respond to what may be one of the most damaging storms in the history of the United States. So she says focusing on protecting your people is selfish. I think she ought to look in the mirror.
And right now, Governor, just to conclude, you have what you need from the federal government as well as you feel like you have the resources in place. Is that correct?
Every request we've made, and I've been in contact with the president. I've been in contact with the FEMA director. You know, it's interesting. Harris is not even in the chain of command.
Yeah, what is she even doing?
She has no role in this. I mean, the idea that I should be like worrying about her when I'm focused on the task at hand is just quite frankly absurd. So yes, all of our requests have been answered. We have marshaled all state resources that are available to us. It's going to be a very robust response, but it's going to be a lot of damage, and we're bracing for that. I'd ask everyone to keep us in your prayers. We know we're going to get hit, but hopefully we can pray that this storm will weaken and do the least amount of damage possible.
All right.
He like, I don't even know what you're doing. Why are you injecting yourself into this situation in the first place? I was able to find, somebody said, where's the audio if it's not real? This is her saying it. I was able to really quickly pull that up.
I cannot stress enough to all the folks in Florida, in the Tampa area, please listen to evacuation orders. Please listen to your local officials, because I know a lot of folks out there have survived these hurricanes before. This one is going to be very, very serious. And I urge you to please just grab whatever you need. Listen to the orders you're getting from your local officials. They know what they're telling you, and they know what Milton.
Thank you, Captain Obvious. Let me go ahead and get to the part. Let me see if we get to the part where she called him selfish.
Is about to be. So please do that. The other point I'd make is that there's a lot of mis and disinformation being pushed out there by the former president about what is available, in particular to the survivors of Helene. And first of all, it's extraordinarily irresponsible. It's about him. It's not about you. And the reality is that FEMA has so many resources that are available to folks who desperately need them now, and resources that are about helping people get back on their feet and rebuild and have places to go. You are entitled to these resources. People are entitled to these resources, and it is critically important that people apply for the help that is there to support. That all of those resources were created for just these kinds of moments in an emergency situation, knowing that folks are entitled to have the relief that they so rightly need at this moment in time. So listen to your sheriffs around the places that have been impacted by Helene. Listen to your local sheriff, who's going to tell you straight about what's available to you and how, for so many reasons and ways, there are no conditions attached to the relief that's available to you.
Madam President, Governor Desantis, NBC is reporting Governor Desantis is ignoring your calls on hurricanes, resources, and help. How does that hurt the situation here?
You know, moments of crisis, if nothing else, should really be the moment that anyone who calls themselves a leader says they're going to put politics aside and put the people first. People are in desperate need of support right now, and playing political games with this moment in these crisis situations, these are the height of emergency situations, is just utterly irresponsible, and it is selfish, and it is about political gamesmanship instead of doing the job that you took an oath to do, which is to put the people first.
I'm going to leave that to y'all. I'm going to let y'all determine whether or not Governor DeSantis is doing a great job in Florida. He did acknowledge that he's in contact with the Biden administration, that he's literally following the chain of command, and that he don't have time for politics right now and to be going back and forth, and he's more focused on making sure that he take care of the people in Florida. So in my personal opinion, let me give a round of applause to Governor Desantis. And I also want to give a round of applause to President Biden in this situation in particular. Okay, so I'm going to keep focused. I'm going to make sure I stay on top of it. Again, make sure that you guys evacuate and you do the thing that's in the best interest of your family. And don't get caught up in politics when it comes to saving lives. We can debate about politics afterwards. All right? Let me read a few of the super chats, and then we're going to continue on with the show. Jeremy H is in the building, says, bless you, AD. I'm a weekend soccer ref. Last Sunday, a parent from the losing team ran up on me looking to fight, but I saw the devil and I walked away. Now that parent can't watch his son play for the rest of the year. It's always better when you keep your cool because you're not in a position to react. You're proactively already aware and situationally aware of what's going on. For what? And now what? Now what? They getting super emotional about their kid losing, and they ran up on you. Now, that could have went bad, but it worked out best for you. Always keep your head. Always remain cool. Shout out to you for playing the game the way it's supposed to be played. Seminole 2014 says, unrelated, but BGS, who was BGS, did a live the other day about the cost of the migrant crisis. The House Budget Committee, GOP, discussed it a month ago and calculated it costs around $150 billion, and the vid is still up on YouTube. Who is BGS? Let me look up who BGS is. Give me a second. Is it the first? What I see coming up is BGS Ibmore. All right, so shout out to him for doing a true cost of what the migrant crisis cost. Shout out to BGS. Spread Wealth says, I have a thing about people that have been caught lying to me in the past and refuse to acknowledge those lies or apologize. Same thing happened in Asheville in 1916, Hell in High Water, the flood of 1916. Look it up. Send it to me. Email it to me, AntonDaniels413@gmail.com. Sly White says, Time Dog. I'm not sure they understand the euphemism. Tough guys who didn't leave Dodge City by noon. Matt Dillon and his 45 dealt with them. Shout out to you, Sly White. Sam Saylor says, more Americans get their news from AD than anywhere else. Shout out to everybody that understand the Millionaire Morning Show is the best morning show on the face of the earth. JP says, did you Cam on Call Her Daddy podcast? I ain't see it. Send it to me. She on a podcast called Call Her Daddy? Send that to me. Young Hove says, I'm at an Advent Health Hospital in Tampa for emergency shelter. So yeah, I'm getting ready, y'all. Prayers. Hey, prayers up for Young Hove. Prayers up to you, big dog. We got you in our prayers. Bless him. Bless him, God. Terrell Kelly says misinformation is the new Democratic buzzword. Shout out to all of y'all that support the platform. Let me also acknowledge, make sure I don't have no cash apps that I need to acknowledge or anything like that. Give me a second. Shout out to Cartier Oliver. I appreciate you, Cartier. Appreciate you for holding me down. Thank you for always supporting the platform and looking out for your boy. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. So speaking of Kamala Harris, Kamala Harris recently did a 60-minute interview. Now, I've been covering this interview in its sections that they've been releasing it, depending on what it is that she's talking about. I don't cover every interview that she does now. I don't cover every campaign rally. I just like to cover the things that I think is relevant to the people as far as how they're voting. I don't care about your joy. I don't care about coming together. I don't care about any of that. I only care about policy. I care about the real issues. And I care about whether or not she's communicating it clearly and actually answering the questions. But recently, 60 Minutes released the full interview. 60 Minutes released the full interview. So I thought that it would be great to have that conversation and share it with you guys and react to it in real time. I have not seen the full interview. I only seen a couple of clips here and there that I reacted to on the Anton Daniels channel. So let's see if Kamala Harris can give us anything new, because we do this once a week. At least once a week we get a new Kamala Harris soundbite. Let's see if she can give us anything new that would help swing our vote over to the Democratic side. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. No. I don't think that you giving me a better question. He asked the question. I'm sitting here waiting for an answer. I was hoping to get a better answer than what they released in a clip. And the question is, why are we giving them aid, monies, weapons, etc., and they're not listening to us as far as the attacks that they're then leveraging against their enemies? And if you keep giving them resources, do he even care about what y'all think because he already know that he got y'all over a barrel for some reason? Why is he not looked at as an ally when we're basically bolstering up what's happening over there in Israel, but he won't do what y'all say and he won't heed y'all warnings? He just doing what he want to do. Because either one or two situations is happening right here throughout this word salad. All right? Either y'all are saying, yeah, you can do what you want to do, just don't put it on us, and we just going to deflect when it comes to answering these questions to the American people, or he genuinely don't give a F about what y'all say. In either situation is bad. And either situation is bad. And again, we keep giving all of these monies and these resources over into these foreign countries, and we won't answer the question. That's the thing that people want. If people had more transparency, whether they agreed with your decision or not, I believe that they would respect you more and they would consider your position more when it comes to these issues and these problems that we have in the United States of America. But because they don't know, because we have no clue, because you're not doing anything except giving us word salad and you never answer the question, that's why it's difficult for people to take into consideration what you say. You don't need no speeches. The question is, and I heard it clearly, I've trained my ears during this election cycle to go back to the original question. When I'm listening and I'm trying to understand what a person is telling me, I'm in the back of my mind, I'm wondering if they're answering the original question. The question is, with it contributing $3 trillion estimated to the national debt, how will you pay for this? How will you pay for this? That's the question. How are you going to pay for all of the things that you say that you will do and that you can get through Congress to approve to ultimately make sure that you execute on your economy plan or whatever it is? The forward economy thinking plan. What I forgot what the name of it. Opportunity economy. So how will you pay for this opportunity economy is the original question.
But pardon me, Madam Vice President. The question was, how are you going to pay for it?
Thank you.
Well, one of the things is I'm going to make sure that the richest among us who can afford it pay their fair share in taxes.
No. So basically what you telling me is that your only plan of action is to try to beat us over the head or try to beat the people that have worked their butts off and the ones that employ the most people and have built these companies and manufacture stuff inside of the United States of America and generate the most revenue to ultimately pay the majority of the taxes, because the top 1% pay the majority of the taxes. So you're going to tax us to death. And so we basically are becoming a socialist country. That's not how you pay for things. That is not how you pay for things. Trump said that we needed an economy. At first, we needed to do an audit of the federal government to see where the waste is. Because I don't believe that they're actually managing the resources that they already have effectively. That's just my personal opinion. But no. You are not going to continue to tax people to death. That is not a plan. That is called mob mentality. That's what that is. Let me tell y'all something. For those of you that may or may not have known, we're not going to pay more. You think all of those people that was in all of those suites that was at the Democratic National Convention is going to pay more so that they can give you whatever it is that you think that you're going to get, that they promise you that they're not going to give you? You going to pay more. It's the middle class that's going to catch the L's. Oh, you don't believe me? You think that no matter who becomes president of the United States of America, that we gonna be the ones that suffer, that we the ones that's gonna be under the heel and the boot of whoever it is that's in Congress and these legislators? You think the Congress people and the legislators who are richer than all of us themselves, are going to be the ones that sign and advocate for this no matter what side of the aisle that they on? You think that the people that donate to their campaigns is saying, yep, tax us more? You really believe that we going to be the ones that don't get richer as a result of what you are going to be under the foot of? Don't you know that they already raising property taxes in a lot of these places in these blue cities that y'all running away from? Y'all giving talk about inflation. All right, keep playing that game. You think that we gonna be the ones that pay all of the taxes? I'm gonna get a bigger car. I'm gonna get a bigger house. I'm gonna take more vacations. I'm gonna have more fun. I'm gonna have fun in the sun right after I go over there and buy up all of your property that washed away in these places where these hurricanes hit. I'm going to be having fun. I got to have do I have like a Hawaiian shirt or something here?
Elected San Francisco District Attorney.
Fun in the sun. Fun in the sun. We gonna have some fun in the sun. In the sun. I'm gonna be in Ibiza. Hey, let's party on the land that they just lost and just washed away. We gonna have some fun in the sun. You the one that's gonna pay for it, not me.
In 2000.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kamala Harris, the Joker. The Joker. She ain't nobody but the new Joker musical.
What's the disconnect?
It's an election bill. And
What's the disconnect?
it's an election bill.
I can't wait till she lose. She's going to lose so bad.
And
is not playing no games. He is pressing. He is full court press. No breaks. Blitz every single play. Full court picking him up. Full court. He is the Pistons in 04. Who is this reporter's name? Who is Pistons in 04 reporter's name? This dude has no chill. Every single question for this entire 20 minutes, this dude got full court pressure on every question. I don't know about that. Netanyahu, he's not really messing with you. How you gonna pay? No. The question was, how are you gonna pay for it? He got no chill. Full court pressure. Ben Wallace, Rasheed, Rip Hamilton, Chauncey Billups, Mike James, Tayshaun Prince, Lindsey Hunter. Full court pressure the whole time. 04 Pistons, lockdown, 23-hour lockdown, shoe program. No pressure.
In fact, arrivals quadrupled from the last year of President Trump.
Four. This dude is he knocking it out the park. He doing push, full court pressure. No 3 feet, no check. No 3 feet, no check. Don't let her inbound the ball. Don't do none of that. Man-to-man coverage. No doubling. Man-to-man. Stay in front of your man. No layups. If they go to the hole, foul them hard. All right? Pistons, 04. Pistons, 89-90. Isaiah Thomas. Vinnie Johnson, the microwave. Mark McGuire. Joe Dumars. John Sally. Buddha. Buddha Edwards is down in the middle protecting the paint. Bill Lambier with the hard white boy fouls. This guy is having no games. No games. No game. Basically what they telling y'all is that we're going to be in some forever wars. I hate to break it to you like that. But what they're telling us is that we're going to be in forever wars. We're always going to be in a war. Always. We're not going to lower the amount that we giving over there in order to make sure that we do. That's just going to that's baked into the budget. That's almost like taxes. Now it's three things that you can basically depend on forever. Three things is for certain. Death, taxes, and war. Death, taxes, and you paying for war. Oh, how did we know that that was going to happen? How did we know that we was going to go back into Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump? If I'm on a campaign trail, I don't care what office I'm running for. I'm running and telling you what I'm going to do. I'm not focused on what everybody else is talking about. Hey, listen, I know they a little dusty over there, but this is what we got going on over here. Why are you not focusing on you and you focusing on him? And I'm going to tell you why. Because Democrats, they don't have anything to stand on as far as their own record and their own policy. When you start to dig enough, they focus so much on why you shouldn't vote for them instead of why you should vote for her. That's the Democrat strategy. I'll get there in a little bit. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm muted. My bad. I didn't know. I didn't know that Tim. I know I'm muted. I didn't know that Tim pulled up also. So we gonna save that for tomorrow. That's all I'm saying. I wasn't cooking on nothing. I wasn't talking about nothing. We gonna save Tim for tomorrow. We not gonna talk about Tim now. I didn't know that we got a Tim feature. I didn't know that they both was there at the same time. So we gonna save Tim for tomorrow. Yeah. All right, we there. We're gonna save Tim for tomorrow. All right, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. That was interesting. That was fun. Now that was fun. All right, Magnificent Gaming says cyber attack on a water supply of 14 states. Therese Castronada says Netanyahu is grabbing her by the... Secret Truth says Kamala dancing machine. Ken Art says even raising taxes amounts to billions, not trillions. The middle class, hardworking folk in Cali are having their retirements paid out based off of overtime pay. I'm playing with public's tax money. Shout out to my dog Ken Art. P. Shank says, thank you, Anton. Everyone pays taxes based on a tier. Rich people tax write-off to lower their taxes and receive subsidies, which result in negative tax. Therefore, the middle class is paying both. You've been paying attention to my class. All right, I like it. Young Hove in the building says, we needed this interview in 60 minutes. Beat you to it, Anton. Oh, you know she ain't coming on the Anton Daniels panel. Hey, AD, where is that hoodie 2K got you? It's in there. Y'all want me to get the hoodie? All right, I'll get the hoodie. Give me a second. Oh my God. This is the hoodie. This is the hoodie that 2K tried to have me out in public with, all right? So I don't know if I should wait to show you this on after hours or what. Should I wait to show y'all this on after hours? This is the hoodie that 2K sent me, all right? No kidding, no cap. So I'm about to put on the hoodie. I'm like, oh, shoot. Love and Sip Hop. Yeah, I'm about to support my dog 2K and all of that. Absolutely, this is my guy. So I put the hoodie on, and I'm like, hey, what's that? And Rita's like, oh, I don't think you want to wear that out in public. I said, what do you mean? I don't want to wear that out in public. What do you mean I shouldn't wear it out in public? She was like, look in the mirror, look in the back. I turned it around, and this is what the back say. This is what the back say, talking about a dookie demon. I said 2K almost had me out in public. 2K almost had me in public. 2K almost had me in public talking about dookie demons on the back. I said, 2K, what in the world? I promise you. I said, 2K, You almost had me out here crashing out. People about to be recording me with a dookie demon hoodie on in the back. No. So every piece of merch that 2K sent me, we got to put it through the test. We got to go and look and see if it's something that we actually... We got to make sure that it's not something that we going to be out here looking stupid with. So yes, that is the shirt. I told y'all that I don't be lying. That's why this is what we was talking about on After Hours. So for the people that don't understand. Yes, 2K almost had me out in these streets with a dookie demon hoodie on. I said, no, dog. That hoodie has not left this studio. Red Bunny Classic said, tell her. Shout out to my people up there in Canada. Mika says, Obama did it without Congress, the porter-in-chief. That's a fact, my girl Mika. Jay Ben says this interview counts as black-on-black crime. Spider Clamp says they pressed her because they want Trump on too. Spacer says we saw that slight flex with AD hat yesterday. We got new merch coming. Seek the Light says CBS must have not received their checks from the Democrats. Latrell M says you can see it in her face that she pissed. She was absolutely aggravated. My dog Snap Tech Fix says the only reporter asking real questions and she started shuffling with no answers. Salute to this guy. If she wins like this, America is done. She's not going to win. I run Michigan. The Gray Way says, stop playing so much, AD. It's an election. Bill. Rodrigo says, February 9th, let's look up Hornets versus the Pistons. Miss Crow T. Shetty, February is birthday month for both Rita and Leslie. Miss Crow T. Shetty says, what up, though, for the greatest morning show on earth? Shout out to Miss Crow T. Shetty. The J. Ben says we need to interview Mute. Real ops. I'm fixing it. I gotta fix it. AJ Wise says she's spitting mixtape bars in a battle rap. Tia Marie too, my girl, says Cheney's are endorsing for one reason Halliburton, of which I think he resumed being chairman of. Oh. Chris Mayberry says, AD, come on now. You know not to expect anything that come from 2K. Man, that dude is crazy. Mute button. Do you like Drago? Did Apollo Creed? Junie says Kamala thought she was going to get a free pass on 60. Nope. Willie Love says, I'm in line voting early in Cleveland and it's popping and Kamala supports wishing for a star. Shout out to everybody that support the platform, everybody that continues to hold me down. I appreciate y'all. We got to get over to the next part of the show. The next part of the show. All right, the show goes on. That's not what I wanted to talk about. Yeah, this is what I want to talk about. So apparently, like the entire school board or something resigned over there in Chicago. And Mayor Brandon Johnson is defiant. Check it out.
As you saw earlier, a defiant Mayor Brandon Johnson just announcing his appointees for the Chicago School Board after 7 members resigned on Friday. Paris was in that news conference and is joining us now live. And Paris, wow, that was an incredible announcement by the mayor, and the question and answer afterwards even more dramatic.
Very dramatic, Sylvia. Very contentious between the mayor and reporters. The mayor telling reporters he doesn't think they should be asking some of the questions that they're asking. He is plowing ahead just days after the shocking resignation of his entire hand-picked Board of Education. He said he was going to have 7 new appointees today. There were only 6. This press conference went off the rails before it even started. It was interrupted by a group of protesters who are still outside and behind me right now, as you can hear. They were saying this board is not going to be legitimate legit. They don't believe that this is a legitimate board, as he is so quickly moving, despite the requests of 41 of 50 alder people, including some of his allies, saying, slow down. We want to say here, we are very concerned at what is happening here. And he very quickly went through the names of his appointees. So we will go through them as well. They are Olga Bautista, Makila Blaze, Mary Gardner, Reverend Mitchell, Kenna Johnson, Deborah Pope, and Frank Niles Thomas. We're learning a little bit more about some of these appointees. Deborah Pope has been a long-time organizer with the Chicago Teachers Union. And then Makila Blaze, she had been running for the new elected school board coming up. She had surreptitiously, I can say that word, dropped out, leaving a CTU ally, G2 Brown, to run unopposed, leaving many wondering whether there was some backroom deal here cut to put her on this appointed board. A lot of inconsistencies from the mayor as well. He admonished folks many times, saying he has the sole authority to do this, to appoint board members, but then also said he fought for many years to get the new elected school board, which is going to take place in 2025. Very inconsistent statements there. So let's listen to a little bit of what he had to say at this very contentious press conference.
Why don't we just go straight to the press conference? Imagine being so bad as a mayor that less than a year into your tenure, everybody on that school board decided that they wanted to resign. All 7 people. Imagine being so bad as a mayor that you remove ShotSpotter, that crime explodes. Democratic National Convention had Planned Parenthood pulling up. You had some of the bloodiest weekends in Chicago history. And you also just signed a new $100 million contract for the migrant crisis for staffing alone. Imagine being so bad that the people hate you more than they hated Lori Lightfoot. That's bad. I heard that Lori Lightfoot just recently got an award for being LGBTQ. I heard that Lori Lightfoot just recently got an award for being sassy. That she got inducted into the Alphabet Community Hall of Fame. I'm telling you, it's a real thing. Did y'all hear about that? It's a real thing, I'm telling you. Imagine being so bad that people dislike you more than the person that just got inducted and was selected based off of that. Hello? Did y'all hear about that? Did y'all know that they had an Alphabet Community Hall of Fame? Yes, they do.
Joining us this morning is former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who is set to be inducted into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. She's here to talk about that and a few other things that we just mentioned.
A few other things that we could see.
Did y'all know that Lori Lightfoot got inducted to the Chicago Alphabet Community Hall of Fame? I didn't even know that Chicago had an Alphabet Community Hall of Fame. If you didn't know, you heard it here first. Look at that demon. Look at Lori Lightfoot. Look at this person. Look at this. Hold on. Let me show you something. Yes, 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 yes. Imagine getting inducted into the Alphabet Community Hall of Fame. Lori Lightfoot, ladies and gentlemen. How do you get inducted into the Hall of Fame? Listen, I just want to leave this up on the screen real quick, just in case y'all eating lunch. Yo. Imagine getting inducted. Who's eating lunch right now? I know it's 11:30 somewhere. It's 11:30 somewhere. Somebody just going on lunch. Imagine getting inducted into the LGBTQ Hall of Fame. Wow. Yep. That's her. Anyways, let's get back to Brandon Johnson because people apparently hate him more than they hated Lori Lightfoot. Let's get to Brandon Johnson.
It's pretty jacked up the way you frame that. Right. That is. It is. It's disrespectful and condescending. With that, we'll take questions.
Mayor, thank you so much. A couple of clarifications. I'm trying not to make this too long, but will they stay? Because you still will be appointing 11 members. It isn't a totally elected school board. So when you all say that there was going to be a transition anyway, there was always going to be those appointed. That meant the 7 current, many thought were staying. So it's not exactly accurate to say
y'all want to vote based off of identity politics. Don't sit here and complain now.
everybody was leaving until all this happened last week. To add to that, who vetted these candidates? Are they endorsed by the CTU? Were they asked ahead of time? Was this a deal breaker? Were they asked, would they fire CEO Martinez and agree to the $300 million
Well, let's start with your first narration. The current members of the board that are now resigning had no intentions on staying. That's why they didn't run to seek office. So that,
but you still appoint 11. It's not a totally elected board. So would they have stayed? I'm just trying to find out.
I know, and I'm answering it. Okay. The 7 members who are resigning never intended to stay. So I just want to make sure that's absolutely clear. They always knew what their assignment was. And just, again, since we are offering up clarification, last July, 6 board members resigned. 6 of them. And I hope you can draw this very simple conclusion here. This is not the first time the number of resignations that we are seeing are taking place. 6 members resigned. I replaced 6 back in July. And in this instance, 7 members decided to resign. And I accepted their resignation. As far as members who will transition in during this period, there could be scenarios in which some members are able to remain. It really depends on the outcome of the election.
Would you talk further about those other questions that I asked? Are they endorsed by the
listen, none of these individuals up here.
How were they vetted?
Okay. None of these individuals up here at this point are, I guess with the exception of one. One person is currently running. As far as who they've been endorsed by, you have to ask those individuals. As far as your other questions of what they were asked to do, they were asked to carry out the vision of public education, the one that I ran on, the one that's in my transition report, the one that's in this transition 5-year plan. They were asked to carry that vision out. Thank you very much.
I thought I had a follow-up.
There were 5 questions there. Which one are you following up to? Question number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If there's time, Mary Ann, we could talk later, but you're welcome.
Okay, thanks, Mayor. Just wanted to clarify, are these candidates endorsed by the CTU?
You have to ask those individuals. I'm not.
She didn't even get a chance to ask her question. Come on, big dog.
Endorse any of these individuals up here in terms of their sort of political aspirations. What's being carried out right now is my authority as mayor of the city of Chicago. If you want to know this, I am fulfilling the executive responsibility that is given to me by the state law. If you want to find out who CTU is endorsing, go ask the CTU. I'm not the CTU. I'm the mayor of the greatest freaking city in the world, the city of Chicago. Do you have a follow-up?
Respectfully.
Do you have a follow-up?
I do have a follow-up. Thank you. We see that one of them appears to be employed by CTU. Are you able to confirm that? Debbie Pope? Is that correct?
She doesn't work for the CTU. Thank you very much. Next person.
Ooh, you a sassy one. He's sassy. Mayor Johnson, I didn't know that you was a sassy. Jesus Christ. Why he acting like that?
Mayor, regardless of that, perhaps we can ask and poll the appointees up here if they have been endorsed by the CTU. That might clarify things right here for us.
So Reverend Mitchell, I'm going to help you. Reverend Mitchell Johnson is not running. Mary Gardner is not running. Ms. Blaze is not running. Is Olga running? Olga is not running. Who else did I miss? So no one's running. None of them. Wait, come on, you all. Just settle down. Craig has the mic. So no one on here, on the stage right now, none of them are running.
So, Mayor, to the outside world, this kind of does look like, because the CTU was your biggest backer, to some it may look like a coup by the CTU to get rid of the board members who would not do your bidding and fire Pedro Martinez. Can you respond to that?
What's the question?
The question is...
You heard what the question was.
This looks like a coup by the CTU to get rid of Pedro Martinez. Was there collaboration with the CTU on your part to make this happen so that you could fire Pedro Martinez?
So every single mayor in the history of Chicago has had the authority to appoint board members to multiple boards. Guess who still has that authority? This mayor does. Thank you.
Reminder that we're only doing one question, one follow-up.
Brandon Johnson is so sassy. I didn't realize that he was this sassy. Wow. Hey, just a question. I'm not going to do a poll in the chat. Just a question. How many of y'all actually believe that Chicago is the greatest city in the United States of America, let alone on earth? Just a question. How many people believe that Chicago, I'm going to read y'all super chat shortly. How many people believe that Chicago is the greatest city on the face of the earth? Here's what I'm trying to ask myself. And I asked myself this question before I did my morning vlog, and I released it on the Anton Daniels channel. And of all of the different things and the news that we see happening and all of the cities that's failing and all of the bankruptcies that's on the horizon and the people getting thrown out of their homes, and you see all of the foreclosures and the repossessions, the repo cars be banging out here in these streets. Repo trucks, I'll be trying to figure out if I actually am financing a car or not. I'd be scared just because I'm having PTSD of what happened in 2008. Democrats have controlled the White House the last 12 of the 16 years. The only time that we had prosperity and unprecedented peace in this country was the 4 years that Donald Trump was in office. And then we had the pandemic, in which they were trying to invade your space while at the same time preaching that we need the federal government to oversee what goes on in your life. They then was trying to mandate that you take the jab, and anybody that refused or talked anything differently about it or said that they didn't believe in it, they were censored, they were fired, and they were drug out of their circumstance and no longer to be heard of. Last night, I was on a panel, and even the person that y'all sat in the chat and y'all was championing, you liberals, y'all was championing him, and y'all was saying, oh yeah, he sounds intelligent, he's must gonna get Anton. The longer that the show goes on, the stronger I get. The longer that the show goes on, the stronger that I get. I'm like a comic book character. The longer that this thing goes on, you empty out your clip, you let your ammo go, and then eventually I'm going to get you. And I started to expose, and I realized who he was as far as what his positions and his stance was. And the first thing that I asked him was, once I realized what was happening, I said, hey, tell me what the definition of a woman is. And you know what he told me? A woman is anybody who identifies as a woman. And then they tried to corner me again by saying that gender and sex were different. So when they went in to define it, because they said that definitions mean things, what they basically defined was one of them was what you were biologically born, and the other one is based off of how you feel. And somehow, some way, you have dysphoria if you feel differently than what your biological sex is. Somehow, some way, God got it wrong. You were supposed to actually be a girl, and now you can go into the bathroom with my daughter and pull out your cock. And now a lot of these bathrooms that's happening all across the world, including here in Detroit, Michigan, some of the biggest places and venues where people are performing. I just seen Billie Eilish last night was here down in Detroit, and the line was out the door. They got urinals inside of women's bathrooms. That's a fact. They have urinals in women's bathrooms. Then they tried to pivot on me and say, oh, wait. It's not based off of how you feel, because I also disagree with the fact that biological men can get in the ring with a biological woman and participate in women's sports. Well, I thought that what you were is what you feel like, not necessarily what you were born as. And that's on the side of the people that are completely delusional. And then you got the people that vote Democrat because that's the way that they were raised. And when you present to them new information, I had a conversation with my brother. Shout out to my brother. That's my guy. We just fundamentally disagree on a lot of things. And I had a conversation with my brother this morning because he called me and he said, Anton, this person needs to get in contact with you, blah, 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 blah. I said, oh, okay, cool. Give him my number. I gave him the number. And then he said, we started talking about what was going on with the hurricane and things like that. And we started discussing things, and then naturally it started to go into politics, right? And my brother is a staunch Democrat for no reason. And the reason that I don't understand it is because how can you be a Democrat when we basically have conservative values? He doesn't believe in gender changing. He doesn't believe in the alphabet community. He doesn't believe in big government. He doesn't believe in more taxes. He works in an industry that's largely affected by what goes on in China. And if they don't have certain tariffs, then guess what? He's going to be affected. He's 100% a church guy. He was raised the same way that I was, if not even more into the church than I was. And everything that he stands for, he doesn't believe in abortion. He doesn't believe in all of this stuff that they're saying. And the only thing that they can then say is, well, what about Trump, when I start asking them questions as to why they believe a certain way. And so I'm not afraid to broach the subject. The thing that he challenged me with is, he told me this morning, oh, you're going to be feeling some type of way when she lose. And I said, or when he lose. And I said, what makes you think that he going to lose? Ain't nobody doing better numbers in Michigan than me. Ain't nobody got a bigger impact than what's going on in Michigan than me. I walk down the street and people say, hey, man, I appreciate you. You changed my mindset. Hey, man, I appreciate you. My son is doing different things as a result of it. Ain't nobody got more impact and influence than me. And if Michigan is a swing state, which way you think it's going to swing if I got more power and control than any other influencer that's happening inside of this state? And it's happening all across the board. But my question is not about influence. My question is, why? What makes you think it makes sense? And this is for everybody that votes liberal. What makes you think that it makes sense for you to vote that way? And can you substantiate your argument? Because I truly don't understand, as a person that have voted Democrat since the time that I have been able to vote, based off of the fact that I was taught to vote Democrat just because that's the way that black people vote. And once I became a man, I put away childish things. So beyond my 18th birthday, in which I turned 18 in 2020, that was a 2020 election. And of course, we had Obama and stuff. I started to question what the Democrat Party really represented. I know they represent war. I know they represent leaving the borders open. I know that the lasting legacy that Obama gave us was the alphabet community. I know that that's what he still advocates for. I know that they believe in higher taxes, which then basically stifles the economy and then raises inflation. And then you can't afford to live, which we then need a Republican to come in and replace and fix everything that y'all did. And so what I see right now is people losing their homes. They can't afford to buy groceries. They having problems. Their debt is at an all-time high. We in all of these wars. And then they keep telling you that a man can go inside of your bathroom depending on whether or not he feels like it that day. He don't even have to dress like a girl no more. He can just go into your bathroom. So my question still remains. Why do people still vote Democrat? I'm curious. I don't know. If somebody can educate me, and I'm not talking about somebody that's just doing it just because they're trying to be contrary, or somebody that feels like they're a feminist, or any of that stuff. What makes y'all think that masculinity shouldn't be the primary reason that we step forward into the way that we're supposed to go, which then trickles down into our voting patterns and the way in which we live our lives, and then it saves our families? Even if you wanted to advocate for the alphabet community, don't you know that the divorce rate is higher amongst people that like to bump coochies, that like to do the scissor kick? That's a fact. That's not my opinion. People that are same-sex gender tend to have higher divorce rates now that we can now surf through the data and look at it to determine whether or not it actually makes sense. And then ultimately you passing down something that's not best for the children that you didn't even naturally birth. So you think that it makes sense for you to raise something that you can't even naturally put together? And we not going to then pass on generational trauma? How does this make sense? What makes you think that in any universe of all of the Democrats that could possibly run for president of the United States of America, you gave us the worst one? You gave us Kamala Harris. Of all of the people that y'all selected to stand in front of us and say that this is the person that we want to be the leader of the free world, you said Kamala Harris. Why would you vote for Kamala Harris? Why would you vote for Brandon Johnson? Brandon Johnson told you what he was going to do before he did it, and he came in with size 17 shoes, and he's putting his foot up your butt. And now y'all sitting here complaining and crying about the fact that he's controlling and doing everything that he want to do, including running the city into the ground. Tiffany Henyard. Why would you vote for Tiffany Henyard? Eric Adams. Why would you vote for Eric Adams? You guys had mayors that came through and basically cleaned up New York City and stopped all of the crime and made it back a tourist destination from what it used to be in the 70s and the 80s, and y'all want to go back to it. Why would you vote for Karen Bass? Why would you advocate for Gavin Newsom over in California that's basically spending an unprecedented amount of money and let criminals run the place? Why would you go for London Breed, who was more concerned about making sure that she gave awards for being LGBTQ instead of cleaning up the homelessness problem when they should have been focused on that? Voting for administrators that ultimately spent $165 million for permanent housing for homeless people, and it was $600,000 per unit. Why would you vote for that? Why would people vote for the thing that's not in their best interest? I don't understand. It makes no sense to me. Why would you want migrants, illegal migrants, into your community to replace you? Why do you want to give away the culture of what America is, which is not to give people a handout, but ultimately give people a hand up? Why do you want people to participate in determining what happens in your life? Why do you want them to have more government oversight? Why do you want higher taxes that you know is going to trickle down and affect you in a negative way? Why are people voting liberal? Why would you want socialism? They did an experiment. I watched a video where somebody did an experiment, and these people that were on a college campus, they were saying, yo, we think that people need to pay more and that they need to share more of their resources that they work for and got legally with the people at the bottom or the people in the middle. They said, okay, cool. What's your GPA? 3.8, 3.9, 4.0, so on and so forth. Okay, cool. Would you think that it makes more sense to share your GPA in order to average out and make things more fair with the people that slacked off and didn't go to class every single day? They got a lower GPA than you. No, that's not fair. Well, wait a minute. You telling me that the thing that you work for so hard for, you don't believe that it's you paying your fair share in order to equal it out and make sure that regardless of how hard you work, that they can then get the same amount of leg up and the same amount of opportunities as you, even though you worked harder than them? I worked hard. I worked my butt off every single day. I take no days off, Monday through Sunday. And so now I'm supposed to give my money away to somebody that don't even care about controlling their body and who it is that they let busting off inside of them. That a person could just go out there and have as many kids as they want, and they're supposed to get more benefits than me, than the person that actually works hard, is very intentional about what they do, give back to their community, and I'm supposed to pay more than them because they made the wrong decision and I didn't. How does that make sense? Don't you know that in no society it actually works out beneficial when you pick socialism over capitalism? Don't you know that all of these legislators that's on the blue side is just as rich as the ones that's on the red side? that all of these Congress members are working together and they actually all are conservative, but they present themselves as liberal in order for you to vote for them to stay in power? That they all get donations for big corporations and they're not really having a war on drugs, they're having a war on you? That we're funding a migrant crisis that is unprecedented in our lifetime, and people completely discard it and say, well, it's not that big of a deal. This is not the biggest election of our lifetime. I'm not even voting. I'm going to just vote for an irrelevant person and write-in candidate for no reason, even though I know that I have a choice in what's going to happen in my family's future and my unborn daughter or my unborn son. And what happens? We sit here and we complain about all of these things and all being overtaxed, because being overtaxed is not just your tax rate. It's the fact that these very people that's advocating for this liberal policy are the very ones that's advocating against updating family court laws, which is a racket in itself. And so if I can't pitch you, if I can't sell you on the idea that your values are conservative, but you continue to vote liberal against your own best interests, what more can I say and why? Help me to understand, because nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, has given me any reason, not one, outside of the fact that they just don't like Donald Trump for some reason. And the media did a nut job on y'all. Nobody has been able to tell me why it makes sense to vote Democrat. And I'm not just talking about Kamala Harris. I'm talking about across the board. Mayors, congresspeople, judges, governors. You want tampons in your boy's bathroom? I don't understand it. I genuinely just don't understand it, bro. I don't. I'm not worried about me. I'm good. I am what I am. I'm stuck in my ways. I'm going to be one of them old men on the porch laughing and saying, oh, y'all stupid, because back in my day. And you're going to want to run up on the porch and I'm going to be like Gran Torino. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I genuinely don't understand it. But here we are. Here we are, election 2024. Everybody is confused and don't nobody know why they're doing what they're doing. They just doing it because everybody said to do it. Magic Johnson can't even get his own son and his own house in order, yet he's sitting there having a conversation about how you should vote for Kamala Harris. Maybe he's just voting on the best interest of his son. I don't know. I don't know. That's why y'all can't get no handbags and no purses, because all of the men is buying them. Let me read some of the super chats. That's why y'all can't find no handbags and no purses and no nail polish. It ain't that it's a shortage. The ports wasn't short on nail polish. All of these men got it. All of the men got it. They get manis, patties, and bottoms. Manis, patties, and bottoms. Oh, manis, patties, and bottoms. Can I get that handbag over there? I got to get it for my wife. I'm sorry, sir. This is a unisex bag, and we sell them to men and women, and all of the men are in line for it right now. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm sorry? You see that gentleman out there? He's styling. These niggas wearing blouses, handbags, purses. They wearing blouses, purses, and heels. You ain't got to worry about it, because you got to compete against him for your man. Yep. They want your man. They want your purses. They want your nail polish. They want your blouses. They want everything. They want everything. Anyways, let me continue. They want a mani-pedi in the bottom. Sassy than a mug. Let me read some of these super chats and we're going to go over to the last part of the show. Latrell M says, Anton, imagine wearing a hoodie with the wrong Levi jeans. Oh, y'all ain't gonna let that go, are y'all? Ivan Drago Jr. says, you can tell the interview was heavily edited. Purple Hayes says, what up, AD? Did you see the story the other day in ATL where people were looting alcohol in the street? I sent you the email. I didn't see that yet. I'm going to check it out. Chicago is cursed with the people that vote for the people that's in office. Smooth Artist says, Lori Lightfoot was cute back in the day. You ain't going to lie to me. I can pull it up. Cute as what? Cute as what? When? When? You ain't gonna lie to me? Why y'all lying to me? Says who? I don't see nothing that's happening over here that says Lori Lightfoot was slanging it. Nope. AI can't fix that. AI cannot fix that. Nope, I'm not going for it. You lied to me. You lied to me. You liar, pants on fires. No. You lied to me. Nah, dog. You need to get your ass checked, for real. Ivan says, these Democrat cities and states are so bad, nobody can just create awards out of nowhere that never existed just to boot their agenda and lifestyle. I agree, bro. 404 Don Drigo says, I'm currently on the way to my third interview for an engineer's position. I watched the interview like a king. Any other tip or video recommendations? Nope, just go in with confidence, knowing that you know what you know. You got it. Turtle Island says, you better tell them. All them congregation was agreeing with Eric Adams. Bump in front, but it's... Oh my God. Early Riser says, do LGBTQ, no white male started first Hall of Fame? Lydia V says, when I first heard you say people deserve what they get, I thought you were harsh, but I 1000% agree with you. People make stupid choices and fall into the victim mentality, which the Dems love. Nope, Lydia, I wasn't being harsh. I was just being real. I'm just being honest. C4 in the building says, all people have to compare Trump era CPI average versus Biden era CPI average. Also compare the S&P 500 growth. Each year, Trump, worst year 2018 versus Biden was 2022. I'd love to get you up here to be able to have that conversation. I know you got your talking points, but I can tell you that it's not going to go the way that you think it's going to go. Anyways, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Last thing that I want to talk about is why middle-class wages are not growing. Let's spend 10 minutes here, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Get your tickets. Discount code in the description. Get your tickets. Discount code Anton, and then make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Let's get it, y'all.
Between 1979 to 2024, productivity in the U.S. soared by 80.9%, while hourly pay grew by just 29.4% during the same period.
The paychecks of typical workers have not grown nearly as fast as overall economic growth over the past 40 years.
In June 2024, 2/3 of middle-income households believed that their income was falling behind the cost of living.
I think that many Americans feel the financial struggle because their household budget and their household balance sheets are facing so much pressure.
Every time I check my local mom group on Facebook, I see requests or people asking where they can get some financial assistance to pay utilities or assistance with rent. And it's concerning because these people are working full-time jobs and they just can't make things work right now.
The issue of
go back to your baby daddy.
Wage trends, wage suppression, I mean, it just could not be more central to what has happened to the middle class over the past couple of decades.
So what exactly is keeping the middle class from earning a higher paycheck?
I think people think inflation is a policy problem, but wages are my problem. And it turns out wages are not just your problem. Wages are entirely a policy and political variable.
The main goal of policymakers at the Federal Reserve is to ensure maximum employment while keeping prices stable. They rely on various economic data to guide their decisions, including the natural rate of unemployment.
Economists produce this thing they call the natural rate of unemployment. It's like the lowest unemployment can go without generating inflation.
Throughout history, the natural rate of unemployment has hovered between 4.5% and 5.5%.
And then we look at actual unemployment and how often it is above that estimate of the natural rate versus below. And if you look at the years since 1979, we have spent far more time with actual unemployment well above that estimate of the natural rate.
Between 1949 and 1979, the actual unemployment rate was cumulatively 15.3% below the natural rate of unemployment. In contrast, the unemployment rate was cumulatively 35.7% above the natural rate of unemployment between 1979 and 2017.
I wonder how much of that was intentional. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like a lot of these market corrections, a lot of these assumed market corrections almost seem like it's 100% manufactured. And so I just be in a position to where I can take advantage of these market corrections. And when I say market, I'm not just talking about the stock market. I'm talking about corrections in everything, real estate, stocks, all things that we then see is directly an impact or a result of whatever administration was in office at the time. So when I see all of these jobs or the layoffs or the fact that America is just basically a banking country now and that they're too big to fail, the banks themselves, and why we had to bail the banks off because we don't actually make anything. But part of that goes back to the fact that the Clinton administration opened up our borders to be able to have manufacturing offshore, to say that we were going to lower prices and ultimately become competitive, when in reality, they just jacked up prices and it didn't help anything. When I see certain things happen, almost all of it seems like it's manufactured or it's a direct result of the policy decisions that we don't really know how it's going to impact us until years after these Congress people and these legislators are out of office in the first place.
This has real-world consequences for the American middle class because wages tend to grow faster during periods when unemployment is low. The Economic Policy Institute estimates that just a 1 percentage point drop in unemployment leads to wage growth of 0.4 to 0.9 percentage points for workers near the median of the wage distribution.
The best bargaining chip any employee has to getting wage growth is going to the boss and saying, I'm going to go somewhere else unless I make more money.
That's a fact.
And that's just not a credible threat when unemployment is high. The only people whose wages are not very affected by unemployment are...
Well, it's not a credible threat when you're not a valued employee. So just because you say, hey, I think I'm about to go to somewhere else, then it no longer becomes a credible threat. All right? When you say, yo, I'm about to go somewhere else, it no longer becomes a credible threat if they can afford to have you gone and they don't value you as an employee. And just because you work there don't mean that they should value you as an employee.
Like the 90th and 95th percentile. Like they don't need super low unemployment to get some consistent wage growth, but the middle class absolutely does.
This means the Federal Reserve's policy decisions that result in higher than necessary unemployment might be creating conditions that actively hold back wage growth for middle-class Americans. Location could be another factor.
There are other reasons for why we've seen less growth in the middle than, say, at the other parts of the distribution. Another one is just that people don't move as much as they used to.
The share of Americans
Seems like people move more than they used to. People are more willing to relocate than they ever have before. I don't know, I could be wrong.
Has declined over the years, from more than 20% in 1948 to just 8.7% in 2022. Between 1986 and 1997, almost 29% of job seekers relocated for new jobs. That number has fallen to just 1.6% in 2023. Location plays a crucial role in wages. Despite the surge in remote work during the COVID-19 pandemic, wages for remote and hybrid jobs haven't grown nearly as much as salaries for full-time in-office roles, with some research estimating that remote workers could earn up to 30% more if they came into the office 5 days a week.
That's a fact. When we was in during the pandemic and we was starting to come out during the pandemic, and I was telling a lot of people that was following me at that time, because a lot of y'all are new, I was telling a lot of people that was following me at that time that was the time for you to get more face time and more visibility with upper leadership. And then you basically have unfettered access to these people to actually show them and become friends and build a relationship and then network effectively, which would then lead you to not only preserve your job when layoffs was going to come, and they did come, but to also get a direct promotion, because when they think about who they're going to replace people with, even if they have a policy that they have to interview a bunch of people, you're going to be the first person that they think about. And remember, I can't tell you how many times that they went through the interview process just because it was a formality. They had to interview a bunch of people. But I already had the position. I already had the promotion. It wasn't even really up for discussion. So it was just a formality for everybody else. But I was absolutely telling people, when everybody was trying to work from home, you do the opposite. You go into the office. Whatever most people are doing, usually it's best. Not always, but usually it's best to do the opposite of what everybody else is doing if you're trying to actually level up and get to that next level. Seven Lies says it's not worth it. Yeah, if you're just a janitor and you're trying to just become a permanent employee, but if you're trying to level up and get to the C-suite, that's the fastest way to get there. I told people that they needed to go into the office. Now, you don't have no separation between you and the next person because everybody is being mandated and required to go back into the office no matter what.
Decades ago, when I was a worker living in sort of a lower opportunity area, I would move to a higher productivity city, like maybe San Francisco or New York City or Los Angeles. And as a result, I'd be able to capture higher wages, gain more skills.
I know a lot of people are saying, I see Eric D said that they're never going back into the office. Well, it depends. I'll do whatever I got to do. If I have other options, then that's a whole nother conversation. But whatever I have to do in order to run that bag up and get visibility, you ain't got nothing better to do. Most of y'all just be sleeping throughout the day and ain't got nothing popping anyway. If y'all got up out of the office, you would feel better, you would look better, you would smell better, you would brush your teeth. Some people look so dusty because they don't have no purpose in their life. And staying home every day is not the move for some of y'all. Some of y'all going into the office was your social life. I'm just being honest with you.
And then move up the income distribution. Now there's a lot less people moving across areas to capture those opportunities. Real reason behind that is astronomical housing costs that are due to excessive regulations at local levels.
Home prices hit a record high in June 2024, with existing homes selling at a median price of $426,900. In line with typical seasonal trends, home prices declined in July and August, but still set new records for those months.
The overwhelming number of jobs in the U.S. are in places that have really not seen much construction of housing.
Some economists also argue that globalization has played a pivotal role in stalling wage growth for middle-income Americans.
The expansion of trade with countries that have much lower wages, I think that was always going to provide quite a bit of pressure on the U.S. middle class because so much of that trade runs through like the manufacturing sector, which is where a lot of middle class jobs have been.
Between 1995 and 2013, trade with lower wage nations like Mexico and China reduced wages for workers without a 4-year degree by roughly 5.6%, or about
which basically debunks everything that Kamala Harris is saying, because if we're looking at the wage reduction, because now you have more competition with more goods and goods and services coming directly from other countries that can manufacture it for less, what makes you think that that's actually going to improve your quality of life? It's not going to improve your quality of life. It directly affects you in a negative way, not a positive way. The more jobs, the more manufacturing you have inside of the United States of America, the more everybody benefits. That's just the facts. That's just true. Anyways, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Tonight we have After Hours. It's going to be a fun time. We're going to have some really, really good debates tonight. We got After Hours tonight. We getting it popping. It's going to be dope. We're going to review last night's show. We're going to talk about DDG and Holly Bailey. We're going to talk about Kamala Harris. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. I don't know what we're going to talk about. I haven't gotten it together yet. But we're going to talk about a lot of things. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Let me read a couple of super chats, and then I'm going to get y'all up out of here for the day. I need to sign into my work computer while I'm thinking about it. C4 says, I'm in agreement with you regarding Trump. We were more profitable as consumers during the Trump era versus now in the Biden era. Aaron, thank you, C4. I appreciate you. Aaron 218 says, Tom, what's your thoughts on ghost jobs online? What do you mean by ghost jobs online? I don't know what that means. What do you mean by ghost jobs online? I don't know what that means. I've never worked a ghost job, so I wouldn't know. Thank y'all for continuing to hold me down. Again, hopefully y'all send this to y'all friends and family. And hopefully y'all tuning in, subscribe to, there's a high school picture of Lori Lightfoot floating around. Google it. She was actually decent looking. Believe it or not. Nope, I'm not going for it. You're not going to do that. If y'all not subscribed to this channel, make sure you do so. If you're not a part of the Patreon, make sure you do so. If you're not a part of Tiege Hanley, make sure you do so. If you don't have your tickets to come and kick it with me in person, make sure you buy them. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to see y'all on After Hours tonight. Peace.